Alright, today we're going to do something a little bit new. This is the first of these that I've done. We're going to do a product review on, these are material and fly prep stations. Just these little rubber pieces, these little foam pieces, these are from Hairline. I picked these up a little while back. I had a post out there on Instagram about it. Buddy Travis down in Tennessee asked me to do a quick review on this, so I figured I'd go ahead and get this out and get it on the channel there. We'll probably start doing a few more product reviews here and there. I know we had I had one request on doing a review on vices, so I'm going to get to that one here before too long. But I wanted to touch on these things a little bit. These really are an absolute time saver. They really are. I mean, you take a little bit of time prepping everything. As you can see, I'm halfway through a 4 dozen run of white girls, and you know, the white girls, they got the craft fur in them and everything. And I'll zoom in just a little bit so I can explain this a little bit better. But you can see, I mean, there it is. I mean, there's a dozen worth of flies. Everything's prepped. Everything's nice and neat. For this gray and white one, the little whitefish imitation, I like throwing a little bit of black in there. So this really keeps you from going back and forth, gray to white, or gray to black, picking material up, putting it back down. You just lose a ton of time. And then here, you know, we have another dozen. This is for the rainbow looking ones. And these things are really simple. I mean, if you want to, you can build these on your own. I just found it quicker, and I mean, they're relatively inexpensive, but you can see it's just a piece of foam, looks like about a 1/2 inch, and then it's cut out there in the center. This top section goes in there, and then you have another 1/2 inch piece of foam with 2 dozen slits right down the center, so you're able to throw your material in there. And you know, it was brought up. It was like, you know, Travis was saying, he's like, you know, I really don't tie on a big enough scale to really do this. And the one thing that I would say is, you know, I mean, with the production time and everything, yes, absolutely. I mean, it'll save you a pile of time. But even when you're doing, you know, just multiples of one fly, taking the time and setting all your materials off to the side, having everything ready to go, it really saves you a ton of time, and it helps you with your consistency too, because not only are you able to go through and put all of your material in here, you can see that it's consistent throughout. I don't have one clump bigger than the other. I'm not constantly going back and forth comparing flies. I have everything laid out right out of the gate, and I know that everything's going to be consistent throughout on my material. The materials that I use this on are mainly the stuff that comes in bundles, you know, the craft fur, your bucktail. I haven't tried it with deer hair yet for spinning. That one I'm a little bit leery to do. I mean, I'll give it a shot, see how it goes. But I mean, these, for the amount of deer hair that I use on the heads and everything, I really don't know if this is the best application for that. So I'll probably still wind up going back and forth, because I mean, I use a decent amount of deer hair if you've seen any of those videos. Another thing that you can do, I mean, I like this just because it helps out with the organization and everything, but if you want to, I mean, you could take a piece of Velcro, you know, have one on the tool, one on your bench, just set it right there, and it helps you pull these out a little bit quicker. I don't really worry about that too much. I like moving it back and forth, and really, I mean, you put your finger down on top of this, you pull out with your middle and your thumb, and things come out pretty smooth. It's not really a big issue. But if it's something that you find that you're fighting a decent amount, go ahead and do that. Just throw some Velcro on there, and then you can move it out of your way if you need to. But it just clears up a ton of space on your bench, and I know we're not really able to see that because I just have materials and hooks and stuff everywhere. But moving on to the front half of these, I mean, the only other thing that I really need is marabou and some UV puller, and I'm set. I don't worry about the UV puller too much, or the marabou. when I'm prepping these, I usually just have those in piles, pre-stripped and everything, and it cuts down on the time. Usually keep it out of the way, that way I'm not bumping it or whatever it may be, and throwing it off the bench and just causing chaos. Another thing that you can use with these, if you're doing, where do I have it here? That's not a good package. This shimmer fringe, like if you're doing a bunch of Kelly's necklaces, this is a great application for this as well. Going back to the consistency thing, like I was saying, I looked at some of my patterns that I've done, a couple of years back and everything, and some of them I would have like the perfect amount of shimmer fringe on there, and other ones would be sparse, other ones would be real thick. So once you get it dialed in, you can just go ahead and set these in there, however many you're doing, if it's a half dozen, if it's 3, whatever. You're able to set them in, you have the consistency in your flies. Let me see, what else was I wanting to look at here? Made myself a list so I wouldn't forget anything here. I just about did. Another good application, and this is just a double bunny here. We did this video a little while back. But say you're doing like a bunch of epoxy heads or something like that, and you don't necessarily want to be throwing it on the bench. One, it'll ruin the head, or you wind up getting stuff all over your bench like I got on mine. You finish up with your epoxy head, you just throw this thing right in the top. It's able to dry right there, and you don't have to worry about it drying on your bench, ruining your fly, ruining your bench. Another convenient little thing that you can use that for. I think I touched on just about everything that I wanted to as far as the materials that I like to use this with. It has really cut down on my love-hate relationship as well with craft fur. I used to hate using that stuff. I mean, it's phenomenal. I like the way that it swims. I like the way that it really builds out some bulk in the streamer. But what I hated doing was every time I got to it, you had to pick this stuff out, and it's inconsistent throughout. So you got different lengths and everything. You'd clip it, clean it out in the comb, get everything somewhat evened out, and then tie it on, go back to another piece. It just took forever, and it was just frustrating. And then the inconsistency of the material that you would get. This way here, when you have things lined out, you're able to look at it, and if there's one, that I need to add a little bit more or take away from, you can visually see that before you actually start tying your fly. So once again, I'm going to just keep repeating that over and over, because it can't be stressed enough how important consistency is throughout your flies. And this is one of the great tools that'll help you with consistency and speed. You want to maximize your time at the bench when you are sitting down. So this is a very cheap and efficient way to go about that. Hopefully I covered everything that I wanted to, and I didn't miss anything. But if y'all have any questions or comments on this, would like me to go back and revisit something, let me know, and I'll shoot another video and get that out. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next slide.